I think this is my first sit down video. Okay, hi guys, welcome back to another video. I'm gonna try to not make this an extremely long video because I feel like I never pay attention or watch to the end on any video that is like sit down. However, I feel like this is gonna be a fun video. We are doing a little bit of a frequently asked questions of bodybuilding. This is more generic. It's a little bit more of a generic one. Like, is this your first time bodybuilding? What you should know before you start competing. I got a lot of questions. Some of it is also about me, but I feel like this is a really good kind of eye into what it's like to compete. I did a question box on my Instagram story. So all of these questions are literally like questions y'all sent in. I have a lot of questions, so I'm gonna pick and choose what I think might be the most important. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So we're gonna start off with this first question, and it asks, how and what is your support system? How do you create a support system? So this is an amazing question. I will say that my first show was the hardest. Not having your parents and your family support you in your show is a huge thing, and I think when they have never seen you on stage, it's hard to support you getting really lean, eating very little, and being naked on stage wearing a bikini. So my first show, my parents didn't really, like, obviously they came to my show, but they weren't as like mentally involved, and after my first show, they completely and wholehearted supported me. But it's hard to support something you've never seen that person do before. Luckily now, since my first show, I have a way stronger support system, mainly with my friends. But it's really hard to know and see the importance of this bodybuilding to you. It's hard for your friends and your family to see how important competing is for you when you've never done it before. So I feel like even just talking to your friends can help so much, and just explaining why you want to compete. And that honestly helps a lot with my support system. But in general, my first show was hard. My support since the beginning was my boyfriend, Parsa, and he has been my biggest supporter, mainly with my first show. Like, he helped me do dishes when I was working 12-hour days at work, and meal prep my food, and I really couldn't have done my first show without him. And since then, he has been my biggest supporter. But at the end of the day, it's you versus you. Although having a support system is so important and so a big deal, like, at the end of the day, it's for you and it is about you. So my next question is, what do you work out like on prep? So my workouts have not changed off of prep to on prep, besides I don't do a third leg day at the moment. So my off season, to gain some leg size, I did do a third leg day. At the moment, I don't do a third leg day, and instead of a third leg day, I do a full upper body. Now, I would say each muscle group I probably work like 3 times a week, upper body wise. So I have delts added onto one of my leg days, my back added onto one of my leg days, and then I have my full upper. But if that gives you a little insight, my workout reps are 15, 8, 12 for most things, which means like first set is 15 reps, second set is 8 reps, third set is 12 reps. My second set is my heaviest. So lowest reps is my heaviest weight. And then also my compounds tend to be 8, 8, 12. What other divisions are there? So there are a lot of divisions, at least in women. I'm going to say in women, but bikini, wellness, figure. There is a fitness division. Not really a lot of people know about it. And there's physique and open bodybuilding. I do just bikini. Wellness people tend to have really massive legs. Figure tends to have big legs, but also like a massive back in comparison to bikini. That's the other divisions. Someone said, how long are your average workouts? I would say, okay, you gotta keep in mind that I make a lot of content and I have to do cardio at the moment. So my cardio right now is 40-minute on rest days and 30 minutes on training days. That was a question as well. So I would say my workouts, like if I were to be grinding through it, not talking to anybody, is like an hour and a half. Now I am taking photos, I am making content, like I'm there like 2.5 hours once you add cardio in there. It's a lot of my day. It's a big chunk, but I enjoy it. Okay, my next question, what are the different types of competitions, and yes, why stay in bikini? Okay, so I was gonna do the second half of this question. Why am I staying in bikini? The people that are asking these questions, I do love joking about it. The people that are asking these questions, I don't think watch a lot of pro shows. I don't know if y'all saw Laura Lee on stage at the Arnold. She is massive. I will say every year, bikini girls are getting bigger. So although I don't flex like I'm a bikini girl, like I don't really have the muscle mass where it's like I should be in figure. Like I don't think I'm gonna step on stage and they're gonna say I have too much muscle. If they do, I'll go up. But I really don't think that's gonna be my feedback. So I stay in bikini because I feel like bikini pros have very similar average muscle size to me. I am way smaller than a figure pro. Although if I were to like take a year or two off, I could switch to figure. I would need a lot more size. So my next question, this is a lot to do with my mental health aspects, which I have a whole nother video on this, on like the mental health of bodybuilding. So I'm not gonna get too much into that. But it was saying like the mental aspects of during prep versus off of prep. I will say, this is it's really weird. I'm gonna do a little generic answer because I've talked like in depth about prep on another video. But in comparison, I would not say I'm happier or, you know, more stressed on prep versus off. I think I have different goals. However, I do like being on prep because my habits, I have to be so strict with my habits, and so I tend to be more productive in other parts of my life because I have so busy that I have to like make time for things that matter. Versus when I'm off season, like, or off prep, it's a little bit more free. It is definitely more social oriented versus personal oriented. So it's just a change in my mentality, I feel like. Not really necessarily a massive, more stressed, let's say, on or off season. I would just say that like off season, I am more off prep. I am a little bit more social and I focus more on like my environment and reaching out to my family and reaching out to my friends and like getting to know people, versus on prep, it is a little bit more of personal goals, working on my habits, things like that. My next question was, do I have difficulties buying clothes after bulking? Like, do I have different size things? All my tops are the same, but I'm guessing you're thinking about like bottoms. Not really. So I wear fit jeans right now, and if I wear size small in the fit jeans, and they fit on and off season, which I tend to gain like 15, 20 pounds, from like show weight to off season weight, which is a question as well. But I don't really buy many other clothes now that I found fit jeans. However, they do not fit the same. I will say my leggings as well, that I buy, like some of the shorts I buy, I tend to not wear off season because I feel like crap in them off season. However, they fit. They fit. Okay. My next question was, okay, my next question was, how and when did you start? I started like 5.5 years ago, and I started because I wanted to do well at my sport. I'm gonna be straight up. I like was really bad at my sport. I was bad at soccer, and I was like, this is my comeback season. Like, I'm gonna be really good this season. So my whole off season, I started training, started lifting. I did mainly like lower body workouts in my like junior year of high school, and like legs, because I felt like I would play soccer better if I worked out legs more. Did cardio, so I was better in cardiovascular shape, and it did help a lot. Once that season of soccer ended, I tended to get a little bit more into weightlifting in general. My, I guess later junior year of high school into senior year of high school. And now I'm about to graduate college. So after I got into college, I stopped playing soccer and lifting became like a larger part of my life. But that's why I started in the beginning. Okay. My next question was the cost of going to a meet. Now I wanted to make a separate video on this, honestly, because this is so much information. It is expensive. I'll just tell you like I would say a rough cost. Like people tend to spend like $2,000-$3,000 for prep. But the problem is, it depends on your coach. It depends what gym you go to. It depends how much you spend on groceries because of your area, of how expensive it is. So much goes into it. Personally, I do my own makeup, my own hair for show day. Some people do their own tans. That I wouldn't recommend. I don't pay for a posing coach, so I save money that way. I'm reusing my suit, reusing my show day jewelry. I'm saving a lot more this year. However, it is very, very expensive. There's a lot goes into it. Your open fees in general tend to be like $100 to $200. And then you pay per class as well. And there's also an NPC card that pays for the federation for you so you're able to compete for the year. So it's like $150 to compete for the year. There's just a lot of random stuff you have to pay for. It's crazy. It is expensive. It's an investment for sure. Okay. Someone said, do you lose your menstrual cycle from being too lean? Which I feel like I get a lot of questions in general about competing. They're scared about losing their periods. A lot of people do lose their period. So I've done 3 shows. I've lost my period for 1 month out of all those 3 shows for roughness, like for a rough estimate. But I feel like I'm going to be leaner this year, so I'll definitely keep you updated on that. However, I haven't lost my period like crazy, but it's all a personal thing. I think some people do lose it like their entire prep. And I think I'm just lucky that I didn't lose it like crazy. I didn't even lose it my first show at all, or my second. So it's definitely like kind of a personal thing of whether or not your body is going to react well to getting that lean. It also depends how lean you have to get to look a certain way. So it depends on the person. Someone said that they want to compete in a year or two and they don't know where to start. So this is gonna be a question: how do you start? You go on social media, find a coach you want. May it be from someone that competes like me and you want to look like them, so you hire their coach. I would say just talk to a coach, talk to their clients first, and see how they like their coach. Then go and meet with the coach. See how the personality vibes with you, if you can afford them, things like that. Okay? Then meet with the coach and tell them you want to compete and see what they're thinking, like timeline-wise, physique-wise. I did have to do an off-season before my show just to gain the muscle mass to step on stage. And a lot of people have to do that. So would recommend, like, the sooner the better, I would hire a coach. Even if you don't want to end up competing, like, right now, think about, you want to put yourself into the best place to step on stage. And so the earliest you can financially afford to hire a coach, the better. Someone said, what are the best and the worst things about competing? I would say the worst, mental side of it, it's hard. It is a mental battle, 1,000%. And I would say, like, it's a waiting game. Like, you do all this work, you have to wait for the progress to happen and wait for your body to react well. Oop. You have to wait for your body to react well. So it is kind of a very mental game. You get stressed, you get anxious, and it's just a lot mentally. It's mentally challenging. Physically challenging as well, of course, but that's the worst part. I'd say it's mentally. Now, the best part about competing, I would say, is, I mean, obviously you get to look really amazing. You work hard and you get to reap the rewards of it. But also I would say that, like, it helps bring my life a little bit more, like, structure. I definitely feel like I tend to, like, have my other parts of my life feel more habitual, and it makes other parts of my life in a way more successful personally for me, just because I am literally like, okay, I need to do cardio, I need to do this, I need to do this. What else do I need to do? What else am I checking off? We're checking off boxes. I need to read this book for my class. I need to do this and this and this. So I think in the sense of, like, keeping yourself busy throughout the day, I tend to be a little bit more, like, on task with other parts of my life. But obviously show day is amazing as well. Like, you get to show off what you did and it's a fun day. But yeah, there's a sort of, like, competition with yourself that is very fun. In a way, like, some people don't even realize how fun it is. Like, once you do more than one show, it's like, this is the physique I gotta beat. Like, let's do it. So it's kind of interesting because you don't have to compete against somebody else. You're competing against yourself, which is, like, such an interesting thing. Okay, someone said, do you have a coach on and off season, or just a prep coach on and off season? Highly recommend it if you can financially afford it. You off season, if you're doing more than one show or building the foundation to bring something crazy to your next show, and would highly recommend keeping your coach. Obviously, also they can help post-show, help you kind of, like, not rebound or anything crazy, like, slowly gain weight. They're here mentally off season. Like, I think coaches are so amazing. So I would personally recommend sticking with them off season as well as on season. Okay, someone asked what the last body part personally for me to lean out is. Me, it's definitely legs, which I found a lot of people have that same problem. Someone said, where did I get my whole fit from? So my bikini is Black Ice Bikinis. My jewelry is from Black Ice Bikini as well, but Amazon jewelry is fine just as well, just as much. And then my shoes are from the Shoe Fairy. I think I have the Olympians. They do have a strap on it, like around it, if that helps find it. What tanning products do you use? I don't do any of my own tan. I do the show day tan. Someone said, do you recommend getting a posing coach? So, yes, for your first show. I wish I did. My posing on stage, my first show was so bad. Would recommend. I thankfully eventually, like, got good from watching YouTube videos, from having friends that also compete, just, like, critique. Of course, I have friends that bodybuild now as well that are really good and are posing coaches. So they have helped me from then on, but would recommend for your first show because it's hard to learn posing on your own for your first show. Do you get really cold when you're cutting? That's a great question. Yes, I get freezing. That is a very common thing when you're bodybuilding. You get cold. Okay, someone was asking how long prep lasts. For me, it's 16 to 20 weeks. it changes per person as well. Someone said, how do you pick which shows you do? If you're doing an amateur show, stick local. Like I would do an NPC show, but the closest the better, just for like being comfortable. I don't tend to drive more than like 3 or 4 hours, but I obviously stay overnight in a hotel over there anyways. But I would recommend looking for NPC shows in your state. Someone said, how is competing and prepping while in a relationship? Actually, I think I talked about this a little bit, but for me, it's good. My boyfriend is the most supportive person I have in my life, and he is extremely supportive about all of it. So I think I'm lucky. Although you can be very short-tempered, you get to be anxious, you have a lot of mood swings, like keep that in mind. And because you know that you're gonna be feeling this way, counteract it mentally, like keep it inside, because I think sometimes that like you tend to jump out at other people because you're feeling like all these emotions. It's just most of the time I mentally make myself remember like this is something I decided to do, and I should not be trying to put my significant other through my emotions that I receive because I decided to compete, although like I'm not the nicest to him sometimes. So he's very supportive because he deals with a lot on prep. But he also comes to my shows, records he does my live videos on my Instagram. Like he is very supportive personally, but I know some people have a lot of stress in their relationship because of prepping. So I'm gonna ask, how is it competing and being a full-time student? It's not as hard personally for me. I'm also about to graduate now, but I think it helps a little bit by with my own time management. I schedule throughout the day when I'm doing cardio, when I'm lifting, when I'm doing homework. I think like making sure you schedule in homework time and lifting time and making sure they're both non-negotiable is so important. So definitely I would try that. Someone said, how much do I pay for my coach? It's definitely gonna be different than her costs now, so I'm not gonna share that. But they tend to be like $150 to like $400 depending on who your coach is. And like if they're a pro and how long they've been prepping people for, it's a huge difference depending on the person. Someone asked, what do I do if I get sick during my show? I usually don't pay the competition fees until I get pretty close. So if something crazy does happen, I can just pick a different show. If it's during the middle, I would just talk to your coach about it. Like I definitely would take some days off, but your coach usually can kind of walk you through that process. But the goal is to be ready early enough that like if I were to get sick at like 4 weeks out, I would still be okay. Because I would kind of already be getting lean enough, if that makes sense. But it depends on your coach and how they would like to navigate that. Most of the time, if it's like really close to your show, you might have to push back your show. Someone said, how did I come to bodybuilding? Great question. Very impulsively, I'm not gonna lie. I knew no one that bodybuilded. I knew a lot of people that powerlifted, and I wanted to compete. And I saw somebody post their show day pictures on Instagram, and I was like, oh my God, that looks cool. Let me talk to that coach of that person. Talk to them the next day. I was paying and like starting prep. So very, very impulsive, and I'm glad I liked it because that could have been good and bad. That could have been bad. Someone said, what are the best shoes to practice in? I would practice in your show day heels. And I think I said I got those from the Shoe Fairy. Can you learn enough without a coach? For a show, would never compete without a coach. I'm gonna leave that there. I just don't think anybody knows enough to prep themselves. I know a couple of people who do, but obviously they have been coaching for a really long time. I don't really highly recommend coaching yourself if you've never competed before. Someone said, do you glue your bikinis to make them stay in place? Most of the people behind stage at the show have them. But yes, I kind of glue it so like it doesn't move around too much. Someone said, how long have I been bodybuilding? Bodybuilding about 3 years, or like 2.5, I would say. Someone said, how to find the right coach for you. Like I kind of said earlier, I honestly would just like meet with a couple coaches, FaceTime call with them, Zoom call with them, see how the personality matches yours and what you need out of a coach, because they will be straight up. I promise you, a coach that is good is not going to want to take you on if they don't think you're a good fit for them as well. So definitely be honest with some coaches, talk with them and see how you think they're going to be a good fit. If you think they're going to be a good fit, like personality wise as well. But also talk to people that are prepped by them and kind of get an idea of how they prep people and like their personality, because I think that deals so much with making the prep process easier. Someone said, why do I like this sport? I think I said this as well. It's you versus you. Like, I'm a very competitive person, and I like the idea of bringing and working physically on yourself to make yourself the best person you can be. Mentally, physically, you're working on yourself, and I think that is a very special thing about this sport. Not a lot of sports are like that. So I was very interested in that. Someone said, who pays for your competitions? Me. I pay for my own competitions. They're expensive. Someone said, do you expect that pro card this year? Or when do you expect that pro card? I have no idea. I've never stepped on a national stage. So I'm going to go for funsies on national stage, obviously bringing my best package. And I'm going to see what they say feedback wise. And may it be I do another national show, like a third show this year, or I take a while off to bring the package that they think is best. But it might be a while. I don't know. A lot of pros are not like 21, 22. They tend to be a little bit later 20s, early 30s. So it might be a while. Someone said, when you look back at your progress from start to now, how do you feel? I love that question. So it's weird because someone actually DM'd me this today and they were like, you at the same time seem so surprised by your muscle mass that you have, but also love showing it off. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of about right. I will say that I'm proud of how hard I worked. And I'm proud of how far I've come. And I do mentally, like some days feel like, you know, I look like crap, like it happens all the time. But at the end of the day, I do know I've worked hard, I look good, and I'm proud of that. But at the back of my mind also, I keep in mind, I have a physique to bring. I have a pro card to win. And that keeps me humble because, oh my God, I look like terrible in comparison to like Laura Lee. So but in the sense of progress and not like even thinking bodybuilding in general, I would say I'm proud of myself. And I think that's important to understand that like, it's good to be proud of yourself and give you a second to be happy with where you're at. And so that's why I love the off season sometimes, because you can be body neutral and be like, okay, I am proud of what I have done and what I have built. Let's work on building something better. But it's less about like changing and getting a better physique every day like on season is. But I'm proud of myself. And I think I am never going to stop putting in like this hard work. But I'm proud of how far I've come. So I think that's the end. Thank y'all for joining. I have no idea if you watched to the end. I think this is gonna be like a 20-minute video. I love y'all. Feel free to DM me any other questions. I'll definitely do another video that's less about me and more like, I don't know. I might do another video like this if you have more questions. But this was fun. I feel like this tend to be a lot more questions, like personal questions. But yeah, hopefully you love this video and I'll see you next one. Like, comment, subscribe. You can do it right now. I'll wait. JK. Love you.